Live from South Florida's news station, WSBN 7. This is 7 News at 6 o'clock.
Just by watching the news, you know the dangers of having a gun in the house with children.
You want to have the protection, but you want to minimize the dangers. And now a new locking device could be the answer for gun owners. 7's John Turchin has details for us in tonight's special assignment report.
She's dead.
She's dead?
Yes, please get my mom and dad. Oh, my God.
Despite lesson after lesson after lesson, some people never learn.
This gun took my son's life and basically reached into my chest and just took a big chunk out of me. And it's never going to go back. I mean, it's gone forever.
Ken Kerrigan never got a chance to say goodbye to his 13-year-old son. Chris Kerrigan was killed while playing a game of cops and robbers. The 14-year-old, now accused of third-degree murder, found the loaded gun in his mother's bedroom. Kids and guns, yet another dangerous combination. But now someone has developed a combination lock that some contend could make handguns safer.
Let's say that I put on this one here 2 for the first pin, 3 for the second pin, and 2 for the third pin.
The device is called Safety Lock. It can be installed in the grip of the gun in a matter of minutes. It cannot be removed without serious damage to the weapon. Yet it unlocks with a simple touch in a second or two.
All it would take me is just one click of the finger and it's ready to go.
And if the gun owner makes a mistake, the lock can be easily reset. Former Broward Sheriff Nick Navarro, who now owns a security group in Fort Lauderdale, was recently hired to market the device to police departments throughout the country.
It's an advantage that I have over the others. They don't know what I have here. I do. I have something that it protects me and protects others.
35 years in law enforcement, Navarro believes the device could also save the lives of police officers who, during a confrontation with a criminal, have their guns taken.
I'll tell you, the grip is nice. I mean, it doesn't interfere with the grip at all.
Joe Gutierrez trains and tests every deputy on patrol with the Broward Sheriff's Office. That's 1,500 men and women. For home safety, even for his own officers, he thinks the device is great, the best he's seen. But when it comes to cops using it, he's not so enthusiastic just yet.
Right now, I would go to my weapon because it's all ready to go. See, right now, we've trained so much that we're second nature and know what we do when we come out with the weapon. This is not second nature. This would have to be drilled into a deputy's mind.
Like the BSO, Metro-Dade Police plan to test it out as well.
I want my officers, if this thing proves to be a viable product, to be able to draw that weapon, disengage in that fraction of a second, rather than put themselves in a situation where they'll get hurt if they don't.
And what does Chris Kerrigan's father think of the device?
If this would have been available, if this would have been on that arm, you know, I mean, that would have been great. Yeah, I'd still have my son.
So might many other fathers and mothers. John Turchin, 7 News.
And here's another plus. If a gun with a safety lock device is stolen, it won't be any good to the thieves because they won't have the combination.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mark Haynes. This is CNBC's Stalk Box, and of course, welcome also to our viewers in Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East, where it is afternoon time. Let's get to this morning's menu. Up first, we are going to hit the road, talk to the CEO of trucking concern Roadway Express, ask him about his company and the economy in general. Then the chairman of RGB Computer and Video. RGB Computer and Video actually makes safety locks for guns. They are in the process of changing their name. We'll talk to them about the evolution or revolution of their company. See, once upon a time, RGB Computer Video made video editing hardware for the now discontinued Commodore line of PCs. Instead of fading away with the Commodore, RGB struck out in a completely different direction. It went into the gun lock business. The safety lock is a combination lock for handguns. With 70 million handguns in the U.S., RGB has caught the attention of police, the National Rifle Association, gun control groups, gun fanciers. Investors have also shown interest in RGB. The stock started the year around $0.50, shot up to $20, settling back around 11.5 yesterday. Actually, it was up about 1 7/8 yesterday. Standing by in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, to discuss the prospects for the safety lock and his company in general, Frank Brooks, chairman of RGB Computer and Video. Good morning, Mr. Brooks. Thank you.
Good morning.
Pleasure to be here.
Let's get the housekeeping out of the way. You are in the process of changing the company's name. When will that happen?
Yes, the shareholders meeting is on July the 18th. We'll change the name to Safety Lock, and the edit will be changed to LOK, L-O-C-K.
Edit is the symbol on the NASDAQ.
The symbol on NASDAQ,
And
right.
you're going to change that to L-O-C-K.
Correct.
Okay, and that'll happen in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
All right, so when that happens, investors shouldn't be surprised. Do you happen to have one of these locks with you? Can you give us a briefing on how this works?
Sure, I have one on a revolver here. Most people will recognize this. You recognize that I can't fire the gun.
Mm-hmm.
The difference with the Safety Lock is it operates by touch and can be operated even in the dark while becoming part of the firearm. So the firearm really doesn't change its shape. It can be carried in a holster, stored away. This gun can't be fired, but to make it fireable, just enter the combination by feel. So in less than 5 seconds, even in the dark, you could operate it. Yet, when you put it down, and kids may have access to it, simply lock it with 2 motions, and it's locked.
What has been the reaction among law enforcement people? You've shown it at some trade shows and some law enforcement conventions. You know, it looks like a great product to me, but I don't know much about it.
Well, we've been 5 years in the making. In that 5 years, what we've done is travel around the country to people in law enforcement, other gun people, gun industry, manufacturers, retailers, and got their input as we were designing a Safety Lock. We got input from all these people. About a year ago, we knew the design was ready, and they accepted it across the board. We have about 15 law enforcement agencies waiting to test it now. What they're waiting for is we're designing it for about 31 different model firearms. The ones that the law enforcement use are a lot of SIG arms and Smith & Wesson firearms. We don't have those designed yet. They're on the drawing board, and maybe 4 or 6 weeks we'll be finished with that.
It has to be re-engineered for each different kind of firearm, is that it?
Actually, no. What makes it unique is one lock fits all guns.
Then I don't understand.
Where the engineering comes in, to install this lock on this gun, you simply take the old grips off, put the new grip kit on, which contains a Safety Lock. All the locks are the same, regardless of the gun, but the adapter plate under the lock is different for each firearm.
Okay. So do you have manufacturing capability?
It's being manufactured by a company called Dynacast in South Carolina. They're probably the world's premier miniature die caster. These are miniature die cast parts. They have 26 locations throughout the world, so they're big enough to get the job done. And then it's assembled, outsourced assembly is done by a company called Dayron in Orlando, Florida. Now, what Dayron has been doing for years is making bomb fuses for bombs for the government. Okay. So they're Class A assembler.
I'm sorry, David Faber wants in.
Yes, sir. A stock market-related question here. Your company sort of came to some prominence, at least, to those of us who follow the market closely, when the Cabot Market Letter recommended it. Carlton Lutz has since, the man who edits that letter, come under a lot of scrutiny. I'm curious, did he speak to you at the time he recommended the stock, and does it concern you at all that he was one of your proponents?
Well, starting with the last part of the question, no, it doesn't concern us, and no, we didn't even know he recommended it. It was a surprise to us that day as the stock soared. When we found out that Cabot Market Letter recommended us, we discovered that he had called our investor relations man and picked up a package that we sent to normally to people who are interested in investing. We were surprised anyone else was. That's all the contact we've had with him. Never have talked with him.
Let me ask you, I'm sorry, David, did you want to follow up?
No, that's fine, Mark.
Okay. Let me ask you, understand, we've got a break for commercial in about 30 seconds. Want to ask you a couple of questions about the financial situation of your company, because product is only half the story as far as investors are concerned. If it's a great idea, we still have to know that it's a company that's going to be able to deliver. If you would hang on, sir, we'll get back to you with a few more questions, okay?
Certainly.
Great. We're talking to Frank Brooks. He's chairman of RGB Computer, soon to be Safety Lock, and we'll have more in a moment. That's a live picture of the New York Stock Exchange. The opening bell will ring less than 10 minutes from now. We are talking to Frank Brooks. He's chairman of RGB Computer, which, again, is going to become Safety Lock Corp. In a couple of weeks, and the symbol will be changed from the current symbol, which is EDIT, E-D-I-T. That's what we're talking about today. But 2 weeks from now, if you look for this company, it will be L-O-C-K. Mr. Brooks, thank you very much for being patient through the commercial break.
Pleasure.
As I mentioned, you know, for investors, there are two things they have to worry about. Number one, does the company have a product? Number two, is the company on sound financial footing? And as I look at your 10Q, you had at the end of the first quarter 30,000 cash on hand. accounts receivable of $28,000, but accounts payable of almost $160,000. So could you tell us how financially secure your company is right now? Because you are in a transition stage here.
Well, in the 10Q, we have actually about $1.5 million cash on hand.
You have that in marketable securities, things of that nature, but...
yeah, well, treasury bonds.
Okay.
So it's cash that is available to us. We probably, what our plan was to bring the LOK forward and by the end of this year actually penetrate the gun market with to get it out in stores, get the pipeline filled, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
The plan was to make our first 10,000 LOKs in June and 20,000 each month thereafter.
Right.
We're right on schedule. We've got our first 10,000 almost made for June. We're a little below that, but we'll be 20,000 a month thereafter. We're in the process now of setting up the pipeline. We've 8,000-piece mailers gone out to the premier firearms dealers across the country. Just last week it went out. We're starting to get response to set up these dealers and set up a pipeline to the public, so to speak. We do have funding to bring us through the end of the year to do that, and of course, sales will fund the company on that basis. But we have to realize there are firearms in half the homes in the United States. It's a very, very big market. And with 70 million handguns, we have to do better than just approach the firearm industry for our advertising. Yeah. So we're going to the general public, and that will require additional funding. That kind of advertising is expensive.
Yeah, that's going to cost you money. We're running out of, I'm sorry, finish your point.
I did want to say, while you were on break, I realized, it was brought to my attention, you couldn't see this when they operated it. I don't know if you can see it now.
Yes, we kind of caught a glimpse of it. It's hard, no matter where you put it. It's hard to pick it up.
Okay.
But we did see it, and I think it's made an impression. One more question, sir, and again, I don't mean to cause any offense here, but a publicly traded company is different from a family-run company.
No question.
But when you look at your proxy, as I did, your CEO is Mr. Gilbert, your Vice President of Finance is Mr. Gilbert's wife, the GM of the company is Mrs. Gilbert's father, Mrs. Gilbert's mother is on the payroll, Mr. Gilbert's brother-in-law is on the payroll, your son is on the board. It strikes me as an awful lot of relatives on the payroll here. Would you address that point?
It's an excellent point. We've addressed it amongst ourselves probably before most people did. We realize that you can't get all the kind of talent and have family too. And from the outside looking in, we probably can't do the job the way a professional management team could, and we realize that. So we're actively putting together a management team to enhance the way we're marketing this product. We don't know the business the way we need to know the business to bring this forward on a scale that needs to be brought forward. Mm-hmm. So we're moving, part of our plan is by the end of this year to have some sort of a management team on with the expertise and the credentials to do what needs to be done.
Mr. Brooks, best of luck to you. This is a product that could save lives, and we hope that if it's not your company, some company brings this to the public. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Frank Brooks is chairman of RGB Computer and Video. Again, RGB will be Safety LOK in 2 weeks from now.
Also, I just want a couple general comments. Let's see, April, the largest month ever for IPOs, second largest month for mergers and acquisitions, and we have things like this happening. IPOs that are, this is not an IPO, this happens to be a stock that I actually heard about a while ago, but didn't mention. It was up from about 5/16. That's up from a quarter. That's up from 25 cents a share in the past 12 months, and it's up 6 15/16 today to 14. This company says this is what the company is attributing the rise to. It's had preliminary discussions with a few major gun manufacturers regarding its Safety LOK locking system. What really moved the stock today, a buy recommendation from Carlton Lutz in the Cabot market letter, investment newsletter. But the company did say we're moving along with our business plan to increase awareness and sponsorship of our revolutionary safety system device. RGB is the holding company for a newly acquired company called Safety LOK, which has a unique patented locking device for handguns and long guns. The proprietary locking system renders a firearm virtually child-proof, yet push-button ready, according to the company.
$1.8 million in 1994?
$1.8 million in 1994, Ron, and I saw it I guess about a month and a half ago, and there was volume, it was moving higher. I saw the safety lock, and well, you can see with Carlton Lutz. I guess once Mr. Lutz sees it and it moves like this, it's worth a mention.
All right, let's check in now with Joe Kernan, the winners and losers on the day. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Neil. Hi, Bill. The other day, the securities data, IPOs, I guess, in April, biggest month ever. I'm going to start with a stock that was at 5/16 in the last 12 months, and I think today it closed around $13 or $14 a share, so that's 4 times 13. That's up 52 times. I think $1 million in revenues, basically, that the company has. Ron looked at $1.5 million, but there is sort of a concept, and that would be combination type locks on handguns that make them child-proof, but push-button ready or something like that. The company never was involved with that. It was called RGB. It was a computer company, I think. And I saw this a couple of months ago. I looked at the float. I looked at the size of the company. I saw it was moving. And we at times have to make a decision here whether to mention something that's thinly traded at $3 or $4 a share. If we mention that, it goes to $6 or $7, and instead of reporting the news, we become the news, which is not what we are looking for. It's not. And a lot of times, our viewers that finally get in at 6 are the bag holders down to 3 or something, and it's hard. It's just you have to make a judgment as to when to go with something. Well, Carlton Lutz, when the Cabot market letter includes something, you're going to see that stock just soar, and at that point, it's already soared. So I'm not the move behind the stock. Let's take a look at this stock today. But my only point was when you start seeing things like this, the largest IPO month ever in April, the second largest M&A month, you got a stock that was at 5/16 that doubles in one day on huge volume. With in fact, the commercial production of this began in March 1996, but. Let's talk about RGB. Says it has had preliminary discussions with a couple of the major gun manufacturers regarding its SAF lock, that's SAF-T-LOK locking system. The company, as I said, also reported that the Cabot letter issued a buy recommendation on that stock this morning. That's the Cabot letterhead I Omega. It reiterated a buy on that today. RGB Computer and Video is the holding company for the newly acquired Safety Lock, and this is in the company's words, the unique patented locking device for handguns and long guns. The proprietary locking system renders a firearm virtually child-proof, yet push-button ready. Commercial production and order fulfillment began in March 1996.
Great talking with you.
Thank you.
Okay, one thing that really is on the minds of everybody that is gun safety, and of course any gun owner. And here to tell us about all the new innovations that this company called Safety Lock has invented is the president and inventor, Frank Brooks. How about a round of applause for Frank, ladies and gentlemen? Hi, Frank.
Hi, Brian.
How you doing, Frank? Here, let me move over on this side of you.
Okay.
All right, now, there's a lot of controversy about whether or not you should keep guns in the home, and I personally, I think that they're extremely dangerous, especially if you have children in the home. You should never have a gun in the house. But I'm sure you disagree with me, right?
Well, you're partially right, and I don't disagree with you. I think that's one side of the story. The facts are that there are 230 million guns in the United States. Every other home has a firearm.
Every other home?
Every other home in the United States has a firearm.
Wow.
88 million of these are handguns, primarily used for self-defense. So my feeling with that is there are a lot of people that have guns. They're not going to go away.
Yeah.
We sell more than 2 million handguns each year, new handguns to people. So guns are here to stay. And I guess the approach with Safety Lock, if they're here to stay, maybe we can make them safer.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is an invention. How long ago did you invent this thing?
Well, it's been 6 years getting to this point. We just started producing it. It's been tested and completed, and Test an independent lab. It ran for 100 years at one operation a day without failure, so we know it's ready to go now.
Well, let's take a look at it. We've got two guns here. Which one do you want to start with? This one here?
Yes, this is a Colt semi-automatic pistol. Most people are familiar with this. It's been around for a long time.
Like, can I hold this because that way the camera can really see what we're doing here? I'm going to hold it up to camera too. Okay, so this is, boy, this is a heavy gun. Okay, and this is the piece that you put in, right?
Right. That's the old grip comes off, and you install new grips, including the safety lock. It's that simple.
Oh, really? So you just can this go on any gun?
Virtually any. Today we cover 40% of the market. By the end of the year, 80% of all handguns will be covered.
And do you buy it when you buy the gun, or is it like an aftermarket thing?
You can, but it'll be an aftermarket thing also. We expect some new gun manufacturers will be selling it from the factory, but you can pick it up in a gun store, install it on the gun in less than 5 minutes.
Okay, so how's it work?
Well,
this gun is locked.
The gun is locked now. You couldn't fire that if you tried. Try to pull the trigger. Now these guns,
I'm going to point it back this way.
Incidentally, these guns are disarmed and couldn't fire even if we had bullets. But you can't pull the trigger on it.
No.
But in an emergency situation, even in the dark, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So in less than 5 seconds, you can pull the trigger.
Okay, so it's just a little combination that only you, the owner of the gun, would know, right?
Right. You can set 1,000 different numbers in it, and it works by touch.
This is great, because this is going to save a lot of kids' lives.
We feel it's going to save a lot of lives. The kids are picking up guns and inadvertently shooting themselves. And
how much is it, and when can people get it?
From $125 to $150, and you can get it today by calling our factory. It's going in stores now across the state.
Yeah, we've got the 1-800 number on the screen.
Right.
Hey, Frank, good luck with this. I think this is going to save a lot of lives.
So do we.
I hope it works out for you.
Thank you very much, Brian.
Thank you.
Live from South Florida's news station, WSVN 7. This is 7 News at 10 o'clock.
Just by watching the news, you know the dangers of having a gun in the house with children.
And if you don't, you should by now, and perhaps you want to have the protection, but also minimize the potential dangers. Now, a new locking device may actually have the answer for gun owners, and the night team's John Turchin has details for us in tonight's special assignment report.
She's dead.
She's dead?
Yes, please get my mom and dad. Oh, my God.
Despite lesson after lesson after lesson, some people never learn.
This gun took my son's life and basically reached into my chest and just took a big chunk out of me. And it's never going to go back. I mean, it's gone forever.
Ken Kerrigan never got a chance to say goodbye to his 13-year-old son. Chris Kerrigan was killed while playing a game of cops and robbers. The 14-year-old, now accused of third-degree murder, found the loaded gun in his mother's bedroom. Kids and guns, yet another dangerous combination. But now someone has developed a combination lock that some contend could make handguns safer.
Let's say that I put on this one here 2 for the first pin, 3 for the second pin, and 2 for the third pin.
The device is called Safety Lock. It can be installed in the grip of the gun in a matter of minutes. It cannot be removed without serious damage to the weapon. Yet it unlocks with a simple touch in a second or two.
All it would take me is just one click of the finger and it's ready to go.
And if the gun owner makes a mistake, the lock can be easily reset. Former Broward Sheriff Nick Navarro, who now owns a security group in Fort Lauderdale, was recently hired to market the device to police departments throughout the country.
It's an advantage that I have over the others. They don't know what I have here. I do. I have something that it protects me and protects others.
35 years in law enforcement, Navarro believes the device could also save the lives of police officers who, during a confrontation with a criminal, have their guns taken.
I'll tell you, the grip is nice. I mean, it doesn't interfere with the grip at all.
Joe Gutierrez trains and tests every deputy on patrol with the Broward Sheriff's Office. That's 1,500 men and women. For home safety, even for his own officers, he thinks the device is great, the best he's seen. But when it comes to cops using it, he's not so enthusiastic just yet.
Right now, I would go to my weapon because it's all ready to go. See, right now, we've trained so much that we're second nature and know what we do when we come out with the weapon. This is not second nature. This would have to be drilled into a deputy's mind.
Like the BSO, Metro-Dade Police plan to test it out as well.
I want my officers, if this thing proves to be a viable product, to be able to draw that weapon, disengage in that fraction of a second, rather than put themselves in a situation where they'll get hurt if they don't.
And what does Chris Kerrigan's father think of the device?
If this would have been available, if this would have been on that arm, you know, I mean, that would have been great. Yeah, I'd still have my son.
So might many other fathers and mothers. John Turgeon, 7 News Night Team.
If you think this is something that you ought to have, this safety lock, you can call the Navarro Security Group. They are located in Fort Lauderdale. The number on your screen, 954, of course, the new area code, 832-0232. The lock itself costs somewhere between $120 and $150.